Welcome back to the Isengard campaign,
where last time our main achievement was taking the big Rohan territory next to ours. Then for the rest of the episode we were just running backwards and forwards, taking out Rohan armies big and small that were all over the place in our territory. And we're getting towards the end of this process, but actually it is still ongoing. There are still Rohan armies all over the place, including a big one that's appeared and is currently moving towards Edoras. I though really want to focus on trying to actually take some territory, and that is what Saruman here is up to. We're going to ignore that big army and move forwards towards the next Rohan town, defeating that army on the way. Should have manually resolved that so that we guaranteed the kill on the general. Now he'll be in this town, but I guess we can kill him there. We can't actually attack this turn, so I'm going to stand on that bridge for safety. With the big army that looks like it's going towards Edoras, I figured I'd just move stuff from around the place back towards Edoras and try to fight them there. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm actually hiding this army off the road, hoping the Rohan army will not aggro onto my small force. Now, in the end turn sequence, I grab this deal with Angmar, whoever they are, some faction at the top of the map, and then in the Rohan turn, we get an ambush. We accidentally ambushed the Rohan force as it was walking past. I didn't realise I was that close to the road. I pretty much wasn't paying attention as usual. So while it might look like this was an intentional strategy, I was not trying to ambush them. And then I thought, well, we'll just not ambush them, let them go and fight them at Edoras as before. But that's not how it works. I think in the later Total Wars, if you choose to not ambush, your force doesn't get revealed and the enemy army just walks on. In this case, it just triggers a battle that's exactly the same, but it's not an ambush, so it's worse for us. Now we're in a bit of an annoying situation. Well, it's nice to have a hard battle now and again. This one is interesting in that it started off with a long skirmish phase. Usually the AI just runs at you. But in this case, they came at me with some horse archers, some javcav and 2 units of foot archers, a thing that's quite rare for Rohan also. And we had a very long missile exchange. I've only got this 1 unit of not very good archers, but in this fight they kind of revealed to me why they are sort of good at something. They're being hit by jabs, by arrows from 3 different units, and they're not dying very fast. I think this is the secret advantage of these Uruk archers. They've killed things very slowly, even at point blank range, but they also die very slowly. I'm guessing most of their defensive stats are in armor instead of shield or skill, meaning they're good at just standing there and being hit by things. A lot of the time the hits don't count. So we can soak up enemy arrows, and we will very slowly work our way through the ranged cav that we do, in theory, have a hard counter advantage against. And after like 5 minutes, the enemy do aggro and go back to what I expected from the beginning. They're just going to run at us. Now I want my archers to get out of the way for this, but we can check out here a nice demonstration of a classic issue with the older Total Wars. If you give movement orders at certain points during the animation cycles of ranged units, they break. So here we go, the unit just stands here, it says it's moving, but it's not, and as a result, the enemy, who are actually moving, make contact with them. You can spam the order again to get rid of it, but there I was just being facetious to show you how annoying that was. We'll get them out the way eventually, and then pull those enemy infantry through to fight with our raiders and berserkers. Now they've got plenty of cav, and we're really outflanked by them. But they are going to be quite obliging in this battle. They went really far out on the wing with their cav, and then charged them all the way back into the middle and into the front of this pike wall. So thank you very much, that's just what I needed. Really didn't expect them to actually do that, but it looks like some classic bad AI is now going to come in and help us out. Got something similar on the right as well against my spear guard. The enemy's infantry advantage is still a bit of an issue, but we do have our general in reserve who's going to go out to the left to try and stop us getting totally outflanked. All of the enemy's infantry commit and we end up with this big crescent-shaped melee. You might note that my right flank is now not there. I decided to switch my spears onto the other side because more enemy cav was over there. I was worried about being outflanked, but as I run the spears over, we actually get outflanked by cav where they were originally, so that was a good move. It's just some skirmish cav, but they still get an okayish charge into the flank of my raiders. They will be able to do some decent damage there, although my archers will be in position to shoot them as well. Back out with the spears though, there was actually a unit of cav going around on the other side, so turned out to be an okay move in the end. Still, we just don't have enough stuff to cover all of our flanks very clearly. So yes, the archers start firing at the skirmishers, it will very slowly kill them, and now that their charge is over, they're only going to be very slowly killing my raiders as well. Meanwhile, those spears will do well taking out the riders and scouts, and they actually absorb in 2 or 3 units, and they keep cycle charging in and not really doing anything, so this was crucial. It's keeping them out of the fight, and the scouts at the very least actually die quite easily. These Spearguard do have high stats, they're better than our Raider tier of units. So all good stuff, but again we're suffering from a lack of units overall. This little squad of riders is in amongst my archers now, taking them down rapidly. Really nothing we can do about that with everything else committed to the big blobby fight. At least that big blobby fight is going alright in terms of sheer trading capacity. We're not losing that much compared to the enemy. On our left, we take out a couple of cav units, but there are still more, and our general is now getting low on bodyguards as well, so that was a bit of a worry. But yes, this infantry fight's okay. While it kind of looks like we're losing, we took out a lot of troops. We only had 1 unit here, remember, and we've held off like 4 units for a long time, so it's going very well with those gold experienced raiders, with the armor upgrade as well. I guess their stats are probably quite high actually, especially compared to Rohan's trash infantry, so that explains that. On the left here, my Spearguard are trying to tank some axemen now, and that's a little bit less good for them, plus they're actually running out of troops as well. At the back, my archers have been spared the Rohan riders for a bit, but here they are coming back in. Wanted to see if this volley would do anything. It doesn't, but aside from that, we've got more important news. We just so happened to kill the enemy commander somewhere in this battle, not sure where, and then we win. Simple as that. I thought we were in trouble in this fight, but we just suddenly win. There was a massive chain rout of everything the enemy had left, and now we start pursuing. So this very sudden and accidental ambush has turned into a sudden accidental victory. We can slaughter the enemy as they go, and their invasion of our territory will have failed. We don't really need to do anything else defensively. Very good. This gives us some real momentum, because the enemy lost their defenders trying to make that offensive. So now Saruman is going to have a real easy time when he advances. Looks like there was a hidden force down near Oldburg that reveals itself, and the general in that settlement is getting out of there. He knows what's going to happen when Saruman shows up. We actually get a mission to take that very settlement this turn, so that's convenient. Now we can get a free unit off that mission. So in we go. There's nothing inside basically, but we'll need to waste a turn to get our rams together. Meanwhile, I'm going to take all the reinforcements I've been building at Edoras and throw them into Muzrat's army here to go retake that bridge and resecure ourselves. And it's going to be a similar deal for Dunlostir. We've got various units that I've rapidly mustered over the last few turns here in case it gets attacked. But we don't need them here anymore, so they can also move over to a river crossing to the northeast, where there's another Rohan settlement out there to defend against. With this, our new realm is finally secure. We've pushed Rohan out of the 2 territories we spent the last couple of episodes contesting, but we're about to get a new territory by the looks of things. Rohan brought all their stuff over during the end turn sequence, but that doesn't really help them because we can just night attack as usual. Only one of their armies was actually in reinforcement range as well, so it wouldn't have mattered that much. We get a decent enough auto-resolve, and we're in, we'll sack the place, and that is that. The mission is complete, and my free berserkers arrive in Isengard, thank you very much. I also have some non-free berserkers that I'd recruited, so we'll start bringing these guys over to join the army. In the meantime, I'm going to go around in a quick circle and auto-resolve all of the small Rohan forces nearby. We get lots of good auto-resolves, so minimal losses. We did have to send some of the troops back to the town as well to stop it rebelling. But once all that is done, it looks like we've very rapidly secured this Ondrith place. It's going to be easy peasy to hold, if that was most of Rohan's forces in the area, which it is for this turn at least. My other army coming up from Dunlostir bags an easy kill on the survivors that ran away from Saruman, and that gives them a new general, which is very nice. I was going to have him just stand on the river crossing, but realised we might as well keep going. We can move up towards the next settlement, it's not that heavily guarded. North of that settlement, it's Elfland, so we're finally reaching the end of Rohan, both geographically and historically, hopefully. It feels like things are going very well overall, and it seems the bourgeoisie think so too. They send me some free money to help out, and as you can see in the bottom right, we actually have quite a lot of money these days. I've been mostly spending that money on buildings, which is a rare twist. We're finally out of the constantly building units age, and while I'm not really talking about it because it doesn't matter all that much, I'm building things I think everywhere every turn at this stage. We've got enough income to keep the economy spiralling up and up. Here's another pointless observation. My diplomat wandering around met Gandalf out in the wilds. He's hanging out with some of his interesting fellows by the looks of things, and he's very adamant about how much he likes me every time I click on him, and in fact, when we come over here to pointlessly talk to him about nothing, he's happy to deal with trusted friends. We're totally in with Gandalf, which is great. I sent Muzzrat to check out the area east of that place I just captured, and really it's just more border with Gondor over here, a big swampy area, and across the big river is Mordor as well, so we're actually getting close to our frenemies. There is one more thing that was just across the river there that I didn't actually spot, even though it was on the screen, but we're going to come back to that later on because it becomes important after a while. Right now, Saruman is on the warpath again, because I've discovered another Rohan settlement at the top right of the screen there. That's Tirith Anduin place, so I thought I'll send Saruman to deal with that. Meanwhile, as for that Rocburg, the enemy are reinforcing it by the looks of things, and I didn't want to risk anything with this stack. I'm pretty sure it would be doable to take both the enemy armies there down. However, we've got stuff around that's not being used. We can throw together another half stack of stuff from units that are just sitting around in forts, and I'll bring them over to make a full army and then go on the offensive there properly. Muzzrat's army gets split up, a couple of the units are going to help form this new army at the river crossing, and the rest are going to follow behind Saruman. If we can put them into his army, he'll actually have a full stack, so this is a nice little reinforcement group. Up ahead we can see that an enemy general has come to stand outside the settlement, meaning the possibility of siege drawout is afoot, and we do just about have the movement points to come in and attack. Unfortunately, when we do this attack he just moves away, and now we're not allowed to start the siege, so it would have been better to ignore that general and come in and start the siege this turn. Not a huge deal, but we've wasted a turn basically. My roaming diplomat goes and talks to the goblins of Moria. They're very angry to get even the most basic relations with me. I think they suspect that I'm on the good side, and so do I at this point. But that was another mission, so we get more of these Dunlending Cav. We've got a load of that stuff off of these free diplomacy missions. And now let's get back into the action, because in the next turn we can do something about this random general. I was confused because on his flag there's enough brown filled in on the flag that it looks like he has a few units with him, but no, it's just one guy, or one unit that is, so we can fight him safely. The reinforcement group is going to come in and start the siege, so at least we've got that going no matter what else happens. And Saruman will go in for the manual resolve on this guy. It's an auto-resolve battle, but of course the manual resolve means we might actually kill this guy, and he's real high level and the enemy's faction heir, so worth killing. It's the same thing as our operation against Eomer last time, just want to try and surround him so he doesn't rout and get away. In this case, we get off lightly because I did a really bad job of surrounding him, but he didn't really try and leave. And then he randomly dies before the unit routs, which is perfect. That's the battle over really, because it doesn't matter what happens to the bodyguards. Easy peasy, one more enemy faction heir off the roster. Now Saruman can go back to join that reinforcement group once we sort the unit cap out here, and we'll end up with a nice easy siege of the town. Everything's going quite well out here so far. Here we are in the next turn, where it's time for our stack near this Rocburg, or Rocburg it probably is, to move out. There is a substantial army defending it now, but our army is quite big as well, and soon we'll have more stuff available because this situation at Tirith Anduin is going to be over right now. Looks like their newest prince is the guy inside. He's going to be dead. We lost a load of stuff here in that auto-resolve as well. I'm guessing auto-resolves are worse when it's a settlement assault, not really sure. But we are getting to the point in the campaign where it doesn't actually matter if we take losses because we have tons of money and lots of time and leeway really. We're not under any pressure anymore. We can leave the town behind with a minimal garrison and they're happy enough with that. Meaning we can have Saruman come to just hammer things home with Rohan. We're going in for the kill. We'll send both of these armies to go for Rocburg up there. Does mean we have to wait a couple of turns to set that up, but it also makes life easier for us. Here we are in the next turn. I'm not even going to bother besieging it with the army that can do so this turn, because I don't want to encourage the enemy to come out and try to fight me. We'll just hang around. I was trying to hide the army, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. Anyway, next turn we'll be ready for that. In the meantime, here's some more pointless news from around the world. I got a spy down to Osgiliath to find out just what was going on over here, and the answer is not much actually. I was worried that Gondor might be annihilating Mordor and taking over everything, but no, things seem to be roughly where they are I think at the start of the campaign, so basically nothing's happened. And here my diplomat's adventure has taken him to Rivendell, where he's now chatting with the High Elves. They are very happy to enter an alliance with us, so yes, more good connections across the world. We are going to be the not especially dark lord by the end of all this. took a quick look at Rivendell itself. It's packed with generals. That looks heavily defended. Look at all those level ups. They do have a goblin problem outside the city, but by the looks of things, they can probably deal with that. Those of you following the location of the One Ring might like to note it's now somewhere else. I think it was actually in Lothlorien. It was very close to us. Now it's moved to somewhere similar but very far away, the capital of the Woodland Realm at the top of Mirkwood. So that's a shame. Got a new diplomatic mission to go talk to these Valesmen over there. The issue with this is you only have 5 turns to do it, and while they're not that far away, the route to their location is very long, so unfortunately we won't be able to do that mission in time. Now, at Rocburg, it's time to get this siege going. Just stack up with our stuff and wait, really. There's no huge hurry to take this place, so it doesn't matter how long that siege takes. We can make tons of siege equipment and see what happens. Meanwhile, I'm having a little look at our new neighbours, Lothlorien. We're not allied to them, strangely enough, so we do need to be a little bit wary of them. I discovered down at Osgiliath that the Mordorians are using Uruks as well, and their Uruks actually have higher stats than mine, curiously. Maybe they're more expensive. I guess they're considered to be an elite unit for disgusting Mordor. Anyway, that aside, over here at Rocburg, we could attack this turn because we have some siege equipment. But as mentioned earlier, I kind of realised we don't need to do anything. We can just wait for the siege timer to run out and fight the enemy at their weakest, since there's nothing else to do after this anyway. All I can do as a player is spend my time spending all of my vast amounts of money. I've got tons of cash now, so I can just build everything. The economic spiral goes up real fast. And one thing I've done is build the highest military building, so now we can recruit our core units. We've got Uruk pikes, Uruk warriors, or Uruk infantry I think they're called, and Uruk crossbows, although we can't recruit them here, you need an upgrade to the archery range. Basically those 3 things are our good units. They have really good stats compared to the Uruk raiders we were using before. Uruk raiders aren't actually that bad looking at these stats, although they do also have a bunch of upgrades when recruited from Isengard to make them a bit better here in particular. Anyway, Uruk-hai infantry are much better value for money. They've got tons more stats, but they don't cost that much more in upkeep. So we want to go for them, but the recruitment system means we're not going to have very many. Here I discovered Forlong. This is a shout out to anyone who watched my Mordor series a while back. Seeing Forlong reminded me of how I went into hysterics upon seeing him for the first time when playing as Mordor. Bad times, anyway, shout out if you remember that. I also sent a diplomat down to have a chat with Denethor of all people. I was trying to get Gondor's map information just to see where they were, and they're nowhere in particular, they're just where they start. I don't think they've actually done anything except take Northern Ithilien. Now, all of a sudden, Rocburg is ours. I didn't expect this to happen actually. What I thought happens was if you siege a town out, the AI always sallies on the final turn, and you just have to fight a battle, but they just disappeared. So we took the town for free, easier than I expected, and I did expect it to be easy. That's the end of that then, or is it? It's not really the end of that. You might note that nothing appeared saying that Rohan has been defeated, but keep in mind at this point in the campaign, I considered Rohan to be defeated, and the reason I'm talking like this is of course they're actually not. Rohan do have more stuff, but I don't know about it yet, so we'll come back to that in a later part. For now I'm like, right, what shall I do now? And immediately I'm looking north towards Lothlorien. They're a nice easy target, mainly because we're here, and they're actually not that big as a faction, they've only got a few regions. And as it happens, on this very turn, Lothlorien are up to no good. It looks like they tried to bribe Tirith Anduin there, and then they sent a few units to besiege it, so there's going to be no rest for us whatsoever. We are actually forced into war with Lothlorien, and that is that. It's quite good actually, because if I'd gone away somewhere else first and then they attacked, our armies wouldn't be here, but because this war has started right away, we're actually ready to react. There's a message here talking about how the dwarves have now taken over Moria once again. There's a good message. Enidwaith is faltering. Good news. Anyway, this dwarf thing I mentioned because someone said in the comments that they're super powerful once they take all of Moria and they just go and conquer everything. But I'll probably try to ally to them. That's my strategy at this point, and it may be possible. Otherwise, once we're done with Lothlorien, we'll take a look at those dwarves. Anyway, so this is going to be the next phase of this campaign by the looks of things. That little army besieging Tirith, what's it's called, is only very small, so we just have to send something over there to take them down. And that's going to be Saruman's job, basically. He'll go to the east, and the army is currently hanging around at Rocburg, can deal with the river crossing to the north. It's a bit difficult actually because there are 2 river crossings. There's one just to the left of it which doesn't have a bridge on it right now because Rocburg doesn't have roads. So we can't completely secure the border, but that's good enough. There are no big elf armies walking around or anything. And what I want to do now is put together an elite army using our stuff at Isengard. I've actually got a full stack here already and I'm trying to recruit more stuff. The one issue we'll have is that we're so far away from the front line, with our recruitment centres in Isengard and Helm's Deep is my other one, that it's going to take us a long time to get new stuff on that front line and fighting. Still, the best time to start is now, so I will deploy a new army against the elves, and I guess we might as well end this part right here, and next time we'll enter this new phase of the campaign, Uruks versus elves, and as hinted, we'll eventually be coming back to the fight with Rohan, much to my dismay.